Welcome back. If you think walking alone is enough to stay healthy after 50, today's video might surprise you. After 60, losing strength does not happen all at once. It happens quietly, little by little, until standing up, climbing stairs, and keeping your balance become harder than they should be. And that is what makes it so dangerous. It does not usually arrive with a warning. It shows up in small moments. When getting out of a chair feels slower, when your legs tire faster than they used to, or when one missed step suddenly shakes your confidence. Many people think this is just a normal part of aging. But in many cases, it is not just age. It is muscle loss, reduced stability, and a body asking for the right kind of strength training. The main message of this content is simple but powerful. Walking is good for older adults, but walking alone is often not enough to rebuild real strength after the age of 60. Many people believe that as long as they walk every day, they are doing everything necessary to stay healthy. And while walking certainly helps with circulation, mood, and general mobility, it does not always provide the kind of challenge the body needs to maintain or rebuild muscle. That is the key difference. As we get older, the body becomes less responsive to light daily movement. Muscles need a stronger signal to stay active, supportive, and functional. Without that signal, the body gradually becomes weaker, everyday tasks feel harder, and independence can slowly begin to fade. This is why the content emphasizes that strength-focused movement matters so much more than most people realize. What makes this message especially encouraging is that it does not promote intense workouts or difficult gym routines. Instead, it focuses on simple, practical exercises that directly improve the movements older adults use in daily life. The goal is not to train like an athlete, but to stay capable, steady, and strong enough to live independently. In other words, walking is still valuable, but if someone over 60 wants to feel stronger, safer, and more confident, they need more than just steps. They need purposeful, strength-building movement. And once you understand that walking alone is not always enough, the next question becomes even more important. What exactly starts to change in the body after 60? The answer is one of the biggest reasons so many older adults begin to feel weaker, slower, and less stable, even if they are still trying to stay active. After the age of 60, the body naturally begins to lose muscle mass year after year. This process can be gradual, almost invisible at first, but its effects show up everywhere. Standing up from a chair takes more effort. Climbing stairs feels harder. Carrying groceries becomes tiring. Balance starts to feel less reliable. And over time, even simple daily tasks can begin to feel like a challenge. But here is the part many people need to hear most. This does not mean the body is beyond improvement. It does not mean strength is gone forever. In fact, the body can still respond to the right kind of exercise well into the later decades of life. Muscles can get stronger. Stability can improve. Confidence can return. The real problem is not simply aging itself, but allowing weakness to build without doing anything specific to stop it. That is exactly why this conversation matters so much. If this message speaks to you, take it seriously, and do not wait for weakness to become your new normal. Start now, stay consistent, and give your body a reason to get stronger again. And if you want more simple health guidance like this, subscribe to the channel and comment "strong" below. And now that we have talked about why strength declines after 60, it makes sense to move into something even more practical. What can older adults actually do about it? This is where the first exercise becomes so valuable. It is called the wall press, and while it may look simple at first glance, it trains some of the most important muscles people use every single day. This movement strengthens the chest, shoulders, arms, and core, all of which play a major role in pushing, bracing, lifting, and supporting the body safely. That matters more than many people realize. Think about how often you push a door open, press yourself up from a bed, steady yourself against a counter, or use your arms to help rise from a seated position. These are not athletic movements. They are daily life movements. And when those muscles become weak, even small tasks start to feel harder and less secure. That is why the wall press is such a smart starting point. It is gentle, controlled, and much safer for many older adults than jumping straight into floor push-ups or more demanding upper body exercises. Even better, this movement can also help improve posture. As the upper body gets stronger, the shoulders are more likely to stay back, the chest opens up, and the body begins to feel more upright and supported. So this first exercise is not just about the arms, it is about rebuilding functional strength in a way that feels realistic, safe, and immediately useful. And once the upper body starts to regain strength through a movement like the wall press, the next priority becomes impossible to ignore: the lower body. This is where the second exercise, the sit to stand, becomes one of the most important movements an older adult can practice. In many ways, it may be even more valuable than people expect, because it directly trains one of the most essential skills of daily living: being able to rise from a chair safely and confidently without depending too much on the hands or on someone else for help. That single ability affects far more than comfort. It influences independence, balance, and overall confidence. Every day, people stand up from a dining chair, get out of bed, rise from the sofa, or get up from the toilet. These are ordinary moments, but they require the legs, hips, glutes, and core to work together with control. When those muscles weaken, everyday life becomes more tiring, and the risk of falls begins to rise. That is why the sit to stand is so powerful. It does not just build exercise strength, it builds real life strength. What makes this movement especially effective is that it mirrors life exactly as it is lived. It trains the body for the tasks it must perform again and again. And as the thighs and hips grow stronger, walking can feel steadier, stairs can feel more manageable, and confidence can begin to return. So after rebuilding pushing strength in the upper body, this exercise helps restore the foundation underneath everything else. And when you put those two exercises together, the bigger picture becomes clear. The wall press supports the upper body, while the sit to stand rebuilds the lower body, and together they create something far more important than a simple workout routine. They restore functional strength. In other words, they help the body perform the everyday tasks that determine whether a person feels independent, steady, and in control of life after 60. That is what makes these movements so effective. They are not random exercises. They are targeted tools for real-world strength. This is also why they can be more valuable than walking alone. Walking is excellent for keeping the body moving, improving circulation, and supporting overall health, but it does not always challenge the muscles deeply enough to rebuild lost strength. These two exercises do. They train the body to push, stand, rise, stabilize, and support itself in ways that directly carry over into daily life. That means better posture, stronger legs, improved balance, and greater confidence during normal activities. And perhaps the most encouraging part is that neither exercise is overly complicated. They do not require a gym membership, expensive equipment, or advanced fitness knowledge. They simply require consistency and a willingness to begin. That is where real change starts. So if you are ready to feel stronger, safer, and more capable in your own body, now is the time to act. Try these exercises, stay with them, and give yourself the chance to improve. And if you believe more adults over 60 need to hear this message, subscribe to the channel and comment "Ready" below. And after understanding why these two exercises matter so much, the next step is knowing how to perform them in a safe and realistic way. That part is especially important because many older adults do not avoid exercise because they are lazy. They avoid it because they are afraid of pain, injury, or doing something wrong. That is exactly why these movements are so useful. They are simple enough to begin with, but still effective enough to create real results when practiced consistently. The best approach is to start small and focus on control rather than speed. With the wall press, the goal is not to rush through repetitions, but to keep the body straight, move slowly toward the wall, and then press back with steady effort. In the same way, the sit to stand should be done with awareness, using a sturdy chair and controlled movement instead of momentum. Each repetition teaches the body how to move better, not just how to move more. This is where patience becomes part of the process. At first, even a few repetitions may feel challenging, and that is perfectly normal. Progress does not need to be dramatic to be meaningful. A person who goes from kneading their hands to stand up to doing it more smoothly has already made real progress. A person who feels more stable at the wall is already getting stronger. So the key is not perfection. The key is consistency, safety, and giving the body time to adapt. That is how simple movements begin to create lasting change. And once safe movement becomes a habit, another important truth begins to stand out. Exercise alone is not the whole story. Strength after 60 is not built only during the workout itself. It is also built during recovery. That means the body needs the right support between sessions if those muscles are going to respond, rebuild, and become more useful in everyday life. This is the part many people overlook. They focus on the movement, but forget the conditions that allow the body to benefit from that movement. For example, muscles need enough protein to repair and grow stronger. The body also needs proper hydration, because even mild dehydration can affect energy, balance, and physical performance. Sleep matters too, because that is when much of the body's repair work actually happens. And just as importantly, rest days are not a sign of weakness. They are part of the training process. Without enough recovery, the body may feel more tired instead of more capable. This connects perfectly with everything we have said so far. The goal is not to punish the body with hard exercise. The goal is to support it wisely so it can function better over time. That is why smart training matters more than aggressive training, especially after 60. When simple strength-building exercises are combined with proper recovery, the results become much more powerful. The body starts to feel steadier, daily movement feels less exhausting, and confidence begins to grow from the inside out. And when proper exercise and recovery begin working together, the final message becomes deeply empowering. Getting older does not mean becoming helpless. In fact, one of the strongest ideas in this content is that age should never be treated like a sentence to weakness. Yes, the body changes after 60. Yes, strength can decline. But decline is not the same as destiny. And that distinction matters because so many older adults have been led to believe that feeling weak, unstable, or limited is simply something they must accept. This content pushes back against that idea in a powerful way. What it really says is that strength can still be rebuilt, confidence can still return, and independence can still be protected, even later in life. And that hope does not depend on extreme effort or impossible standards. It begins with simple, meaningful action. A wall press may look small. Standing up from a chair may seem ordinary. But when those movements are repeated with purpose, they become symbols of something much bigger: self-respect, resilience, and the refusal to give up control over daily life. That is why this message goes beyond fitness. It is really about dignity. It is about being able to move through the day with more ease, less fear, and more trust in your own body. And once a person begins to feel that again, everything changes. So the real takeaway is not just that these exercises help the muscles. It is that they help people reclaim belief in what their bodies can still do. And once a person begins to believe in what the body can still do, the most important step is the one that comes next: taking action. Because inspiration, no matter how powerful, only changes a life when it turns into movement. That is really how this message ends. It does not ask older adults to chase perfection, train like athletes, or completely transform overnight. Instead, it invites them to begin with something simple, realistic, and meaningful. One wall press, one sit to stand, one small decision to stop waiting and start rebuilding. That is how real progress begins. Not with dramatic promises, but with repeated effort. A few careful repetitions today can become greater strength tomorrow. A small routine this week can become better balance, easier movement, and more confidence in the months ahead. And perhaps most importantly, starting now helps prevent weakness from becoming deeper and harder to reverse later. Every day a person delays is another day the body adapts to doing less. But every day a person practices with purpose is a day the body is reminded to stay capable. So this is the moment to make it personal. Do not just listen to this message and move on. Use it. Stand up. Try the movement. Feel where you are today, and then decide to improve from there. Because the goal is not just to live longer. The goal is to live stronger. And if you are ready to take that step, subscribe to the channel. Stay with us for more practical guidance and comment, "I'm starting today" below so we can cheer you on together.